Hello and welcome to Not Another Football Podcast. I'm Luke and this is Ollie, and we're here to discuss the Premier League each week. Again, another great week for me, Ollie, because Liverpool got a great win against Spurs, another step towards the title, you would say. 4 points clear now of Chelsea after a 6-3 win. I mean, Spurs made it very easy for us. I don't know if you got to watch the game, but it pretty much, I think, went as most people thought.
Yeah, Spurs are making it easy for everybody at the moment, aren't they? Let's be fair. And when you're playing against the best attacking front three in the league, then you don't really need to be up against such a weak defence. And it went as expected, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think...
Were you worried at all when they got back into it at 2-1?
5-3. Oh, 2-1, right, the first one. Yeah. I was a little bit worried from the sense of we've been in total control, total domination of this game. We've arguably the best we've played 40 minutes of the season, or whenever they scored, maybe 35 minutes. And little mistake. It's just lacks in concentration. Bad touch by McAllister, who had a great game, but still. So you're thinking, oh man, fucking hell, we've let him back into this here. You never know when you're playing away from home, crowd get into it, momentum might shift in the game. And then, I mean, they talked about it, the pundits and stuff. Instead of thinking the Spurs mindset, God, we got a bit of luck here. Let's just consolidate, maybe get in at the half. They thought, you know what, we'll just gung-ho press again and leave all the space. So Trent's, for that third goal, because it's like, Trent's ball essentially is a clearance because he's under pressure. For some reason, the doggies decided to sprint the length of the pitch to press Trent. So obviously Trent just lumps it. Now, maybe if you've got your starting centre-backs and a Virgil van Dijk, for example, who's then going to win that header, but Dragusin loses the header to Szoboszlai. And then after that, he's just out of position and he's never getting back. And it's so open. The left back's already gone. The right Porro wasn't even in. Oh no, he did get back, to be fair, but still, they're just so dragged and no midfield again.
Yeah,
not even a midfielder challenging with Szoboszlai in that point because they pressed up so much or pushed up. Yeah. So it's like, you've just gifted us another 2-goal lead. Thanks very much. That's pretty much game now. That's how I felt.
Yeah. I mean, it is just incredible to watch, isn't it? Not even commentating on Liverpool or Chelsea's tactics against that, because there doesn't need to be any, does there, really? It's just so easy to play against. I mean, we were 2-0 down against them and you always felt like we could have won the game. Like, they are just incredibly open.
I know it's easy to say, because you went on to win the game, but it actually did. When you were watching it, even though it was 2-0, you were thinking, if Chelsea get a goal here, Spurs are in trouble.
But it's just you can't play like that the whole way through the 90 minutes unless you've got far superior players than the opposition. And obviously Spurs haven't got that because they're not a top one team in the league, spending $500-600 million a year and amassed really high quality players within the squad. Like, you just cannot do that. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah, exactly. And Archie Gray, 18 years old, would technically be your fifth choice centre back, and he's not even a centre back. And he's playing alongside Dragusin, who's your third choice centre back. Yeah. I mean, you're just asking for trouble. And to be fair, Archie Gray didn't do that badly, but when he's so exposed, because he's just got no one around him helping, really. And obviously Dragusin wasn't having a great game either. Had no midfielders screening him. It's just, you're just asking for trouble. And also, and Postecoglou's very like, I'm not going to change, mate. It's like, no one's asking you to change your... Oh yeah, well, I'm known for my Aussie accents. It's like, no one's asking you to change your principles of philosophy. They're saying in this period of time when you don't have your best players, why don't you try and adapt a little bit? Weird one.
Well, it's the art of management and tactics, isn't it? It's adaptation. It's just incredible. Like, I saw Solanke pressing your keeper, just it's just incredible. Straight after you scored, it's just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, they were pretty much non-stop, and that's I guess it played into a way of, like, when we went 5-1 up, you could tell the players were like, the Liverpool players were like, okay, it's been an easy game.
Yeah.
Take our foot off the gas. We're going to win. They'll probably give up. And to be fair to Spurs, they kept going. So they got the second and third. And then Liverpool were like, oh, okay, well, we'll attack again. Scored, like, not straight away, but, within 10 minutes, scored, killed the game again. And it was like, yeah, they have that never say die attitude, which is great. But when you've been that gung-ho, I mean, you can't claw results back. And when you're playing teams that are just ultimately better than you, you're asking for trouble playing that way. And, we are ultimately better than them. And I actually thought overall, our performance was just really, really good. But Slot said it perfectly. I mean, he said after the game, we were basically played the perfect game up until the 15 to 20 minutes when we decided we didn't need to run anymore.
Yeah.
And that is spot on. And also the psyche of football matches, though, a lot of the times when you think it's done. So
yeah, but it's kind of the perfect win in a sense. It's like a 3-goal lead. You've scored 6, but you've also got a reminder of things that you need to improve upon, right? Mm-hmm. So it couldn't have gone better in a way for you guys, because you still got a stick to beat them over the head with in terms of improvements, and you're not getting too carried away. It doesn't seem like Liverpool are that type of group of players, and to get carried away. But surely you must be getting a bit more carried away than your 15% prediction now. As the week goes by, and especially another percentage point maybe added, or maybe you probably only give it 0.5% with Saka getting injured for your nearest chasers, Arsenal.
Well, the nearest chasers are you, but I would give us, we're creeping in the Luke, predictability table and stats. I'm giving us 18% now. That's a solid 3% swing. You don't want to get too carried away. It's only 4 points, game in hand. A lot could change in the game. We're looking great though. So there is that caveat. And, obviously being facetious, as I am very confident at this point of the season. But I have seen us be even better and lose the league by a point. So I know it's a City team, different circumstances, but, I'm just keeping my level head with it. But I must admit, we were so good. Like, I know it's hard to single out players because I did honestly feel like everyone played really well. And it's kind of annoying we conceded 3 because I actually thought Van Dijk and Gomez were excellent as well. And obviously after you concede 3, less gets talked about them. But it's just the way the game played out. But Salah, I mean, again, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's the first player in Premier League history to have double figures for goals and assists before Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is kind of mad.
Not bad.
Yeah. And I seen...
some of his runs were frightening, like frighteningly quick as well. Like his speed just hasn't diminished at all, which is just unbelievable, really, for his age.
Yeah, and his footwork, obviously, phenomenal anyway. But even that chance he had where he hit the bar, he it's like rolled it onto his right foot, like quick footwork, creates a space, and before you know he's hit it. It's like so hard to defend against. I've seen his stats, and it was honestly so ridiculous. Like since he's joined, I think the first season he got 44 or something goals. I mean, I can't remember all the stats off the top of my head, but they were 25 consistently plus, and obviously some bigger ones into the 30s and whatnot. And I was looking at him, I was thinking, fucking, yeah, that's unreal. Obviously, great player. But then you look at the other side, and it's his assists as well. He's always double assists. One season he wasn't. One season he got 6 assists and scored like 31 goals. But the other seasons, he got double assists. And it's like, well, I mean, what more can you ask from your right winger in a front 3?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Any progress in terms of the contract?
No idea. I mean, I wish my in the know sources knew a bit more, but they know about as much as me. What do you
feel? What percentage would you put on him signing a new deal at this stage? You can talk to other clubs in January.
I know we can. I know. I'm quite optimistic about it. I'm going to say 70%. 70% chance he stays. And I feel like it's even higher for Van Dijk. I feel like it's 70 for Salah, 80 for Van Dijk in percentages terms.
Yeah.
And then Trent at the moment feels 50-50. That's the one. Hard to tell which way that's going. But no, I feel like Salah will. I mean, him and Van Dijk have been fantastic once again this season. And the numbers he's putting up, I know it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, and his age and stuff like that, but as we discussed previously, and probably everyone has, how much money would it cost to replace a player like that?
Exactly. Yeah.
It might even be harder to replace a Van Dijk, as silly as that sounds, just because defenders are so hard to come by who can lead a back line as well as he does. So, we'd be foolish to let them go, for sure.
And I wanted to ask you a question about Cody Gakpo. How much has he improved this season?
I know. And we went to watch him, didn't we, at PSV? We went to watch him in 2022, maybe?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, maybe. And obviously they had a good game that day. They beat Zurich pretty convincingly in Europa League 5-0. But I never didn't think at the time he was linked with United, so didn't think much of it. Obviously we signed him. Klopp misused him. I think that's fair to say after seeing him play through the middle. I mean, he wasn't awful or anything. He just wasn't up to the level we wanted, and trying to replace Bobby Firmino in that role and stuff like that. Big shoes to fill. And then obviously you had Núñez being hit and miss as well, so kind of let him off a little bit. But I think since Slot's come in and just said, look, your best position in Holland and for the national team's been off the left. That's where you're going to play.
Yeah.
I think he's been fantastic. And I think Slot's just given him license to basically express himself from his best position. So obviously and when you've got the team around you as well performing as well as they are, makes it a lot easier. So I think he's been fantastic. And I think it helps as well that, say when Núñez and Jota aren't playing, Slot hasn't gone for Gakpo through the middle. He threw a curveball and went for Diaz, didn't he? Like when we did that against Leverkusen, everyone looked at it and was like, oh, that's a bit different. But Diaz, his work rate off the ball and his pressing, and he's obviously a threat as well, it's been perfect. So now he gives options because you've got Diaz, Jota and Núñez all through the middle offer you different things against different teams. And if you've got Gakpo playing on the left as well, Salah goes without saying, but you've got Gakpo as well playing as well as he has been. Yeah. Frightening going forward.
Yeah. Playing players in the right positions. Who knew?
Who knew?
Not that I'm slating Klopp, but it's.
I get why.
I feel like that's you can totally understand why, and it's just I think for a player that's not maybe hit the richest veins of form, like playing out of position, you put them back in the natural position, and they're a really high quality player. Then it just gives them that extra push in some occasions. All right, you're playing for the right manager. You guys go and play in your correct position. You're absolutely being frustrated maybe over the past sort of 18 months. Go out there and express yourself in a winning team. You're going to get the best out of a player easily. Yeah,
for sure. And I think when he first joined Gakpo, obviously we were going through a dip of a season. So that's again harder because the team's not performing. But then we had a great season under Klopp in his last season. But Gakpo was just really out of form and struggling in that position. And then obviously, like you said, new manager comes in, same nationality, but also Gakpo is brilliant in the Euros off the left. So I think the Euros helped him get his confidence back. And obviously when he's come back and Slot's gone, look, you're going to be playing from the left, don't worry. If we're going to be playing through the middle, we got Jota, Núñez. He might not have told him at the time like Diaz is an option, but just gave him a bit of confidence back probably. So yeah, it's worked out really well. Gravenberch as well in the middle of the park. McAllister, Szoboszlai was fantastic yesterday. He's doing what we've all wanted him to do, add goals and assists to his game, because his work rate off the ball has been fantastic, and I've praised him for that. But it's always been going forward, which in recent weeks he's improved. But at the start of the season, he was very wasteful with his final product. And it was actually ruining the good work he was doing off the ball, because obviously a lot of people just see the work on the ball. Whereas now he's added that to his game. Looks fantastic. And obviously 2 seasons ago, the one thing we didn't have was legs in the midfield. Now we've got an abundance with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and even McAllister. I mean, you wouldn't pick him out as someone having a lot of legs, but he does cover a good enough amount of ground and he's very good positionally. And as long as he's got Gravenberch and Szoboszlai around him as well, perfect formula, I think, at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah. Summarised quite nicely, I'd say.
Yeah, frustratingly good news for you again.
I know, because obviously that win put us 4 points ahead of you with a game in hand. Obviously, you guys played Everton, and it's your bogey team, as you were telling me. Yeah, and another. Well, it's not fully negative result, but obviously when you're chasing, because you could have gone top, obviously before we played Spurs. So psychologically,
yes. Yes, and yes again. I mean, we could have easily lost, and and we're going back on myself here, but if it wasn't down to Sanchez in the last 2 games, I think arguably we could have been 5 or 6 points behind, because he saved a certain point against Everton, and arguably two more points he gifted us in terms of against Brentford, so kept us in the game.
It takes a lot for you to praise him as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, he has been excellent the last 2 games. You can't argue with his shot stopping. Like, not many other keepers could have made those saves, and whilst his distribution has still been shaky, it's not been anywhere near as bad as it has been throughout the rest of the season. So fair play to him there. I thought Tosin did quite well when he came in, but he's going to have to do well now, because Badiashile and Fofana are out till at least January, and they're saying towards the latter stages of January for both of them. So it looks like those two are fixed back to. Dizazi was a disaster as expected at right back, and he got mauled. But also, like, I think the biggest thing from the biggest takeaway from that game is obviously the midfield have had high praise this season, and the backline has been where Chelsea have rightly got the criticism, but Cucurella has been arguably our second or third best player. Like, he's been absolutely incredible this season. The intensity and the tempo that he's played with has allowed, like, the back four to press up, and he's given us an outlet both when he stepped into central areas and attacking from the left hand side. And without him in the team, we just totally lost the balance. Like, Gusto really struggled playing off the left, inverting into central midfield. It just didn't work at all. And then we were just getting frustrated. And fair play to Everton, they did a good job in terms of marking Palmer out of the game, in fairness, and Jackson, when the 2 gilt-edged chances came.
Yeah, Jackson.
He wasn't there to finish them, and he had an off day. He had an off day by his standards this season.
I think the weather.
That's going to happen. Stricker.
Do you think the weather played a big part, especially with the midfield? Because apparently, I was watching it as well, but the conditions with the wind, and the commentators kept bringing it up. So obviously, if you've got silky players, it can be, and it plays more into Everton's hands. Let's be honest. Those sort of conditions. Yeah. So I'm not giving them a full out, but I'm just saying it probably had an impact.
It didn't help. It never helps when we go there. They seem to have a bit of a hoodoo over us every time we play them there. But they were defensively really solid. The way in which they set up. I mean, they've got 4 0-0 draws over the past 6 games, and you can see why. 2 of them against top teams in Chelsea and Arsenal. So. They seem to have found a bit of a formula. Pickford seems to be on one of his richest veins of form, certainly in an Everton shirt. He made 2 or 3 excellent saves. I'm not sure if you saw the one where he went in where he could have arguably got sent off. I thought it was
a penalty.
Maybe. Yeah,
I thought it was a penalty. I was really surprised because, I mean, he basically did the same, similar to Van Dijk, and I know that ended in a bad injury.
Yeah. No,
but it was aggressive. I can't remember who took the shot, but I actually thought it was a foul. I was really surprised because he did come steaming out. He didn't. The commentators on the game broadcast I was watching were saying he got a touch on the ball. I didn't see that.
No.
I didn't see any touch.
We were unlucky not to get one. No, I think that's that's home stadium, that's given.
Yeah, if it's at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah. But you're maybe not getting that distance away from home. But yeah, I also think we've got another conundrum in terms of Nkunku, in terms of him coming on and not really having the impact in Premier League games that we necessarily need. So maybe there's a question mark there. He just doesn't look like an impact player. That's not his. I don't think that's his game at all. And in fairness to him, it takes him like 10, 15 minutes to come into it, which is, we're always going to keep Palmer on the pitch for at least 70, 75 minutes. He's not going to pull him off unless he's injured before 60 minutes. So there's a challenge there. But I think with Cucurella back, it'll be a tough game against Fulham. But we need to win to get ahead of the chasing pack, because similar to you with the Premier League title this year, like speaking to some of our friends about Chelsea, like there's no better opportunity to get in the top four than this year. Like the amount of teams slipping up, it's incredible. Like City, falling away, Arsenal with Saka being injured,
Spurs nowhere in sight.
Yeah, Spurs miles away. Villa seems to be clawing it back a little bit. Perhaps a bit dangerous, especially with Duran up front. But there's it's such a good opportunity for us to get in the top four, so we can't flunk it with any more draws.
Are you guys not thinking you're in a title race? I feel like this is psychological warfare here, like the Chelsea fans and the manager. No, we're not in a title race. I mean, you literally could have gone top if you won. Like that's title race, surely.
Well, I've seen your psychological warfare in the pub last week cheering on Brentford, so I'm just downplaying it.
Well,
I mean, look, if you were to slip up at the weekend and then we were to win, who knows? But I just don't think that with the age of the players and the backline that we've got, I just don't foresee us being as consistent as we would need to be. I think we're closer than I thought we would be, obviously this season, but I still think we're a way off. However, like midfield wise, where games are won and lost, like we're in such a strong position with Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo. Like they all seem to be coming to fruition. So that's the main thing.
To be fair, though, this might actually be one of those games. Say if, I know you've already put a great run together, to be fair. What was it? 7 wins in a row? 8 wins in a row before today? Yep. I can't remember. So say if you, obviously you drew, but say if you then put another 6 wins in a row, you're going to look back and go, actually, that was a good point. Everton, bit of a cursed club. Yeah. They could have won it. So could you, with a couple of chances. So then you look back and you're probably like, actually, it's the right point. Because that's what I was saying to you last week when we drew with Fulham. I know circumstances, we had 10 men. And the way we came back into it, it actually felt more like a win rather than a down and out draw. But it's one of those that I think when you look back after a few more fixtures, you go, actually, not losing that game, that was good. And, again, fair enough. If you say if it does work out as well that you're not in the title race per se, but say if it's for the top 4 and you go, actually, that point, really good, help sustain.
Yeah, when you look at it through the lens of top 4, then you go, it's a really good point. But if you look at it through the lens of the title, obviously, it's a bit of a killer.
Yeah. I actually, to be fair, I thought Tosin came in and did quite well. He made a really good block from Njai. Yeah, that was really good because it just looked like a goal, to be honest, the way it was falling. So, and I did think he dealt with him quite well. Obviously, they're quite an aggressive team as well in terms of long balls and stuff like that. Probably plays into him though with his height that he can be, especially challenging with Calvert-Lewin. So I thought he played quite well. Again, it did feel like, didn't it, when you were watching it, that just. It's either going to be some brilliance or a mistake that would unlock the door, because it was just one of those games. It seemed destined for a draw, especially after Jackson's chance in the first half where Pickford made a good save, but you're still saying Jackson probably should have scored, really. I feel like once that chance had gone, I thought, it feels like you're not getting many.
Yeah, I agree. There's particularly the one where it's come over the top of the back post and he's headed it against the post.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yards, like, what, 2-3 yards out, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that one. I was thinking of the one that's played across the box and he, has a shot on goal. But yeah, the header, geez, yeah, that's a massive chance. Actually, that led to the Pickford challenge, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it may have been. Yeah. I was too busy just watching
Screaming.
flashbacks.
I know. Yeah, because that was one of those when it actually first came in, when I was watching it before the replay, I thought it was like a deflection and somehow like it's just hit someone and hit the post. And then when I watched the replay back, I was like, oh, wow, how's he missed that? Yeah. So obviously, bit of luck for me, but yeah, very frustrating for you. How do you feel about Jackson in recent weeks? Because you've gone from saying you can get 20 goals this season, and to be fair, you still can. I'm not saying that, but and he was playing. Well, he has massively improved from last season and playing well, but he's just had a bit of a iffy spell. I know he scored against Brentford in the end, but he missed a couple of chances. Do you feel like his confidence is a little bit on downside, or how do you feel with him? Think he'll play his way out of it?
I don't think it's a confidence thing with him. I think it's where he gets the opportunities to score, right? And he is not yet, whilst he has improved in so many areas in regards to his hold-up play, in regards to his decision-making in the box, when to shoot, when to pass it, like it's light years apart from where he was certainly at the start of last season. I think where I don't think he's in a position where he will carry us to the title, and maybe this improves again towards the back end of this season and hopefully into next season, but he doesn't get across the front of the defender ever. So when the ball goes into those wide areas for Madueke or Sancho and they cross particularly low across the box, he's never in a position to get across the front and score. So that, to me, is the most worrying sign for him, because he's not giving himself an opportunity to get those easy goals to help him, get towards that 20. So I think that's the area for improvement, and hopefully that comes, by the end of this season and carries through into next. But still a long way to go. Like, that's one of the hardest things to do, is to know how to do that in the box. So, and he's way off that at the moment.
Yeah. But something to work on. At least he's made great strides from last season. Yeah, so you never know. He can still probably get to those heights if he brings a bit of consistency and someone works with him on it. But it'll be interesting to see if he does hit the numbers. He's definitely got a chance this season, that's for sure, especially with the creativity around him. Before we go, do you want a quick chat about City? I mean, absolutely insanity that they're... What is it, 8-12 now they've lost? I watched the Villa game the other day and early kickoff Saturday? Yeah, lose track of days over this time of year. But yeah, they look so toothless. It just felt like I was watching the game expecting Villa to win, and they did. It's just, it's so not like City.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much self-doubt flowing through them, and like big errors, isn't there? And they just cannot seem to shake them. Even that first one in the first seconds with Duran, it's just like, oh my word, like he should have scored that in the form that he's in. You would expect him to score that, and they just keep on making those mistakes. And but all of his masterpiece midfields that he's developed over the years, he can't seem to find any sort of balance with the team where it's at the moment. Like, I guess question to you is, after watching that game, is how much further do you think that they sink?
They got a nice run of fixtures because they got Everton at home. I know they'll be defensive, but they'll give them a lot of the ball and probably won't pose that much of a threat on the break. So they've got Everton at home and they've got Leicester away or Ipswich away, someone like that. So they've got a couple of games that they could bounce back with. How further down could they fall? I mean, I'm still waiting for the change, and then they get they become a bit more like City. Obviously, don't go on a crazy mad run like they used to, but they win, I don't know, 3 out of 5 and draw 2 or something, you know. Still drop points, but still they start getting going again. I'm expecting that. But say if this, I mean, it could be, well, could it be the perfect season to get the points deduction, depending on how much they get, if they were going to get one?
I know.
Because their form since the start of November, they're bottom, you know. They've got less points than Southampton since the start of November. I mean, that's insanity. I mean, so I'm going to say I still, at this point, they're in a fight for top 4, but I still expect them to get top 4. I mean, I know it's not that out there call, but I still expect Pep to turn it around enough where they will get top 4.
Yeah.
Even when you look at that team on paper, it's still decent, isn't it? I mean, it's not bad. It's just they're low on confidence. So to get a couple of wins, that might change. Well, how far do you think they might fall?
I mean, every week you're saying, like, surely they go, okay, any worse. It really is the Mick McCarthy analogy of it. It can.
Oh, it can.
Yeah, it can. Which is absolutely hilarious to watch. But yeah, I mean, look, they've only got 6-7 more days till they go through to January. I guess we're just with the changes upstairs, like with Viana coming in the summer. Like, will he want to wait until this season is out to sign players, or will he want to try and spend? Will they want to try and spend to make sure that they get into the Champions League? So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. No teams really sign players early in January anyway. So the impact of those January signings probably only comes in February. And given that most players take a little bit of time, especially in the Premier League, to work with Pep and his system,
might not be the quick fix everyone thinks.
Yeah, it might not be the quick fix. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. They could be, even with the new players, still scrappy. That's why it makes me think that they're in a top 4 race, not a title race, but what I mean is a top 4 race of actually it's a fight to get in there, rather than they've dropped off the title, but they'll comfortably finish 3rd, for example. You know, I think they're in for it, in for a tricky one. Touch quickly, Saka injury. You mentioned it before. Think this derails Arsenal a little bit. They've been very unlucky that they've had Odegaard out, and once he's come back now, Saka's out. I mean, that is very unlucky for their 2 most creative players. Yeah,
cry me a river. They haven't had any injuries for the past 2 or 3 years. It seems like Arsenal. So they were due some. I think it could be a bad one for Saka. Like I think it could be a bit like Reece James in terms of his hamstring injury. Like it seems like he's been trying to play it through, and he's probably going to need an operation. And it's one of those where it could be like to do it. They can, if it's anything like Reece James, then an operation will probably have to come, and he could be out for the season. So if they decide to go down the operation route, but
I can't imagine they would. I mean,
no.
Arteta said many weeks.
Then they have that. Yeah. But then they have that issue of bringing him back too quickly, and he breaks down again. So it's a nasty one. And it's going to cost them points, no doubt. He's him and Odegaard are by far the best players, aren't they? So
100%. And like you said, dynamic, explosive players, hamstring injuries. That is just that's a nightmare. Bad news. Yep, for sure. Great news for Liverpool in terms of Arsenal potentially dropping points. Not the fact that Saka's injured, rather people weren't injured, obviously. But in terms of Arsenal dropping points, gives us potential chance, I guess, to widen the gap there. But yeah, we should probably wrap that up. I would touch on a team sat in 13th, losing 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, but I mean, it's just run-of-the-mill stuff these days. So
easy.
Long may it continue. I hope they sort out their infestation.
A Mancunian, Manchester United fan went to a travel agent, and he said, "Where should I go?" What do you think he said?
I don't know.
The travel agent, he went, "You can't beat Bournemouth." And on a Christmas joke. A bad one.
Yeah, there you go. There's a bad Christmas joke for everyone. But yeah, we will leave it there. So thanks for listening. If you are listening or watching us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts below on what we've discussed. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please I don't know if you can even but share the podcast at least with Spotify, with your friends and family. That'll help get the podcast out there. So we appreciate it. We hope you have a good Christmas, and we'll be back next week, whenever we record it next week. Christmas holidays obviously a bit scattered, but yeah, we'll be back next week anyway to discuss more football. Have a good one, guys. See ya.